Hi everyone, my name is Jesslyn and I am an international business management student of Project-Jesslyn University in Surabaya. And in this opportunity, I'd like to share to you a little bit about myself and about the lessons that have been taught to me by Professor Dr. Casey Chan. In this presentation, I will use the action learning equations and I will show it to you already applied, so rather than you heard me babbling all about the lessons that I've been learning for the past 2 years, you can see it and apply it to yourself and increase your self-awareness.
So here is the action learning equation. It is simply the formula for continuous learning that can be applied for everything, so we can keep improving in our life. There are 5 important questions in action learning. The first is what, the second is why, the third is who, how, and when, the fourth is where, and the fifth is how much. Now, let's move on to the first questions. What do I want to be? To answer the questions, we will use the holistic view on individual, team, and organization, which will make another questions arise. Who I am, what I know, what I do, that will eventually take us to what I want to be. In order to answer it, I have to know myself better, and to do so, I have to know my capabilities in individual level, team level, and organizational level using the self-assessment test. In individual level, I will use the learning style test, entrepreneurship GED test, and Big 5 personality test. For the team level, I will use the Belpin's 9-team role test, and for organizational level, I will use the leadership self-assessment. Now, the first test is learning style. And the result of my test is that I get a high score in pragmatist, activist, and reflector, and relatively low score as a theorist. This would mean that as a pragmatist, I am actually an action learner, realist, and a practical person. And as an activist, I like to take direct action. I like to think on my feet, and I love challenges. And as a reflector, I like to think before I act. I am an observant person and I like to calculate my decision well. But I am not a theorist, that is why I don't really pursue academic and I am not detail oriented. The next test is the entrepreneurship GED test. It will test me on need for achievement, need of autonomy, creative tendency, calculated risk-taking, and drive and determination. For my need for achievement, I get 8 out of 12, which means I am an optimistic, self-confident, and task-oriented, and also persistent person. For my need of autonomy, I get 3 out of 6, which means I have no preference and can do both working for others or giving orders. In my creative tendency, I get 8 out of 12, which means I am an intuitive person, I love new challenges and have lots of ideas. And in my calculated risk-taking, I get 10 out of 12, which means that I like to take risks and I'm willing to take the chances. In drive and determination, I get 8 out of 12, which means I am a person who have a good self-confidence. The next test is the Big 5 personality test. In this test, I will only discuss 3 of my personality that are dominant. Because I am a highly extrovert person with 95% result, I am an energetic person and people see me as a chatterbox and I am super outgoing. In agreeableness, I only score 45%, which means that I like to seek the truth and I will tell people as it is. This is because I am a direct person and I won't sugarcoat my words just to please others and hide the truth, which is why people often see me as impolite. And lastly, I scored 65% in openness to experience, which means that I like to learn new things and I have lots of interest and generally have a very open attitude toward change and ideas. As in my Belpin's 19 roles, I scored the highest as first, shaper, second, specialist, and the third, coordinator, and the lowest is in thinker, innovator, and team worker. The result interpretation is that as a shaper, I am able to make decisions, able to work on pressure and challenging environment, and have the drive to overcome obstacles, but I can hurt others people feeling. And as a specialist, I am single-minded, dedicated, and provide skills in rare supply, but often overlook the big picture. And as a coordinator, I like to promote decision making, delegate well, but I can be seen manipulative. Based on those three highest results, it can be concluded that I am a thinking-oriented person in the team. And the reason that I am not a thinker, innovator, and team worker is because I have low score in the theories in the learning style test. And as a shaper and coordinator, it is natural to have low score in teamwork, as we cannot have too many dominant persons in one team. And the last test is the leadership style test. I scored high in negotiating, motivating and inspiring, and building relationships. So basically, my leadership style is negotiation. This style can be explained by my previous test because I am an extrovert. I get my energy from people. So naturally, I know the importance of building relationship, but I scored low in agreeableness. So I am not those people who will always please others. This is when negotiation comes. For me, negotiation is an act as a bridge to create a win-win solution. And we both understand what each other's wants, so we can find the common ground. So this is why another style comes, which is motivating and inspiring. This can be created as the leader will listen to the people's opinion, and as a pragmatist activist, I like to make a visible action. And negotiation for me is one of the ways to reach an agreement. And as a shaper, I am not afraid of making unpopular decisions, so I usually will negotiate my way so that people will accept my decision well. Naturally, I will not be a team worker, as it is in contrast as being a shaper with low agreeableness. Out of the many attributes in a good leader, I believe that I have 4 key attributes to become a good leader. The first is that I am bold. I am not afraid in taking risks. I am not afraid of confrontation. I am not afraid of making decisions. And I am not afraid in taking opportunities. The second is inspiring. I am someone who will walk the talk and usually bring the best in people with my optimistic view and energetic attitude. The third attribute is persistent. I don't bend down easily and will work hard in order to get what I want. And lastly is that I am clever. I observe well and get out of many sticky situations quickly. I believe those attributes can help me to become a successful entrepreneur. In the 5 level of leadership development, I humbly believe that I am still in the contributing team member, but I know that I can grow myself into the master coach and I can fill those room to grow and become a good master coach. The second question is the 5 whys. Why do I need to understand? First, my character. It is that in order to improve myself in any aspect of my life, I have to be able to know more about myself. What are my strengths and weaknesses? Second is learning style, so that I can understand which is the most effective and efficient way to improve myself. The third one is my team role, so that I can know in which part I can contribute the most and bring my team to enhance my team's performance. The fourth one is leadership style, so that I can know which are my strong traits as a leader and choose projects which I will be a beneficial leader in the project. And the fifth one is my entrepreneur style. This is to know if I am suitable in working for others or I should work in my own business. After answering the 5 whys, I have a better understanding of the critical view of knowing the importance of self-awareness. The third question in the action learning equation is who, how, and when. I will use the IPO diagram to answer it. I put who am I as my input, so the 5 self-awareness tests that we have taken before will provide me with enough understanding of myself. In the process, I will put how and when can I achieve my goal, and the process can be projected in a timeline. As for me, in the next year, I will graduate and start working as a business analyst. In the next 3 years, I will start working in my family business, and in the next 5 years, I should be able to expand my family business and open my own business. And in the next 7 years, I should be able to expand my business to outside Java, and the next 10 years, I should be able to continuously expand my business throughout Indonesia. The output will be, who do I want to be? Which is the million-dollar questions, which is when we match our capabilities as an individual, team, and organization. As for me, I want to be a successful entrepreneur. So, how do I measure my success? I will measure it based on my income, market share, and time. So the questions of how much do I earn in a year, how much market share do I own, how much time do I have for my family and myself will be a very important questions in measuring my success. And that is when we can go back to the input and do some reflection on ourselves and achieve a new goal. The fourth question is where it might go wrong. In the process of self-development, there will be insight, motivation, knowledge and skills, real-world applications, and accountability as the process to develop yourself to go and having an enhanced competence. This process will go through self-development process, and during the process, the most pivotal where it might go wrong is in the last two. In the real world, applying the theories might not be enough to solve the problem, especially as an entrepreneur when all the risks are our responsibilities. There will be a lot of things that need to be carefully think through, from capitalizing, managing, marketing, etc. And the last is that it is very prone to be wrong in accountability. Many entrepreneurs fail to have good integrity in doing their business and act irresponsibly, from doing tax evasion, money laundering, and doing unethical conduct, etc. This should be pondered upon, as this will affect the whole business, even though this is the last step of the process. The fifth question is, how much can I improve? And to answer that, I will use the GOT diagram as the driver of how much I can improve and willing to improve. In the goal, I want to become a successful entrepreneur who are able to apply all the lessons learned from experience and study by using the holistic thinking. In the objective, I want to increase business analytical skills by having experience in working as a business analyst and acquiring more knowledge in working on my own business. And in the target, I want to have sufficient and supporting income as an entrepreneur and have the time to be able to balance between working and enjoying my own life. So, in conclusion, in the action learning, which is a continuous learning process, we should have 6 capabilities that can be concluded in the 6 thinking hats model. The first one is the blue hat. This is an execution power. We should be able to execute what we have think, and we should be able to re-engineer and have the capabilities of re-engineering of whatever we have thought before. Second is black hat, which is response power. We should be able to redefine and be able to respond toward risks and other threatening situations that comes upon us. Third one is the green hat, which is adaptive power. We should have the capabilities of rethinking and restarting of what we have done so we can adapt into a new situation. The fourth one is the white hat, which is expert power. We should be able to reinvent. This means that we should be able to gather information so that we can always prepare of what comes ahead next. Yellow hat is a communicative power. We should be able to redesign whatever we have done and keep designing so that we can find the most effective and efficient way in doing something. And the last one is the most important one is red hat, which is stamina power. We should be able to rejuvenate so we will never be tired to keep doing the learning process over and over again. In doing so, we can keep improving our life. And That is the action learning equation applied. Then that is my social media project.